Welcome to Factory Forward, the podcast that explores how cutting-edge technologies and visionary leaders are redefining the future of manufacturing. Today, we're honored to welcome a true pioneer in digital manufacturing, Prasad Satyavolu, lead for Industry X Manufacturing and Operations in Americas at Accenture, and board member at CESMII. With over 30 years of leadership at global powerhouses like TCS, Cummins, and Cognizant, Prasad has been at the forefront of turning IoT, AI, and data into real-world factory performance. In this episode, Prasad shares powerful insights on building agile factories, scaling AI across manufacturing networks, and why causal AI is poised to change decision-making forever. From COVID-era pivots to long-term digital transformation strategies, this is a masterclass in leading with both technology and purpose. Now, meet your host, Zishan Zia.
Welcome to Factory Forward. I'm Zishan Zia. My guest today is Prasad Satyavolu, America's lead for Accenture's industry and manufacturing and operations, and a board member of CESMII, the US Smart Manufacturing Institute. With 30 plus years at Accenture, Cognizant, Tata Consultancy Services, Cummins, and Tata Motors, Prasad has helped turn IoT, AI, and data-driven insights into real factory gains. Prasad, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jishan. Happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'll dive straight in. I'm really excited to be getting this opportunity to speak to you. What key career decisions or experiences have most influenced your journey towards leading Industry X and digital manufacturing initiatives across the Americas?
First of all, there is a big opportunity here. What excites me is the fact that um, Americas as a continent and US in particular has been on a journey where continuous innovation, a focus on cost, productivity has been intense. And it has seen multiple degrees of changes um, from the time the manufacturing evolved to adopting the automation, which led to the industry 2.0 and 3.0 time eras, if you may. Now we are at such an inflection point where the convergence of information technologies, right from the basic stack at L0, L1 level, all the way into L5. But along with that, the AI, the cloud, the edge, IoT, all of this is nicely converging. And we are now seeing another revolution in the form of physical AI. So all of this is very exciting, and I love it. That's what made the transition and choice very easy to stay focused on manufacturing as a function, as a profession, to stay closely involved, help organizations transform, and really adopt each wave of new technology that is coming up in a way that creates value. Ultimately, you don't just adopt technology for technology's sake. So you focus on people, you focus on productivity, and see how you can create value from these technologies. So that's what gets me going every day.
Sounds amazing. Prasad, you kind of hinted towards this, but how can manufacturers build agility and flexibility to tackle disruption, especially in the face of, global supply chain and operational volatility?
It's something that is top of mind for everybody, Jishan. So really, uh, some of it is very basic, because what happens in the life cycle of a plant or a network of plants, as any large global organization or a smaller organization with fewer geographical footprint may have, is you create assets, brand new assets, build new factories, have excited people who solve problems as a team, and over a period of time, it kind of settles into a rhythm which nicely makes the factories hum, if you may.
Right.
But then continuous change happens. You are introducing new products. Consumer demands are changing. So you have to bring lower batch sizes. You have to introduce more SKUs that you so im and source more parts or ingredients, as the case may be, if it's process manufacturing. So there is immense pressure. And then you are on the shop floor making changes for the physical layout or the equipment. You're doing some changes on the line, and you have to keep up with the IT systems stack on the floor. So all of this is a nice confluence. So you have to create a symphony. But if you don't pay attention, it can become a cacophony very, very quickly. So um, when a disruption happens, you need to be prepared for it. That's you cannot say that, oh, now there is a disruption and what should I do? Um, if there is an earthquake, you are prepared for an earthquake in some ways. There is a forecast, there is evacuation routes. Of course, there is damage because you can't avoid it. I'm talking about earthquake. So in organizations, you have to prepare for all scenarios and see what's the impact on it. And the long-term scenarios are for which you can start preparation on how do you have dual sourcing. That's where the disruption starts. Some source somewhere may have a supply disruption in their plant, which will impact your plant from a supply chain standpoint. And then you are struggling, you're premium freighting, you're trying to look for another source. The other part of this is your your facility gets impacted with any disruption and your demand goes down. So how do you adjust production? So these are all strategies that you need to incorporate into, and very importantly, how your planning systems can flex. And then is your physical system, that is your production line, your material handling systems, material flow, can all of these pivot and remain flexible and agile to be? So can you reconfigure it? It is easier said than done. Very complex task. But these are the strategies that are long term for which you have to build capability in the organization. And we can talk about what those capabilities should be. But in the short term, we saw, and it was an amazing thing for me to personally go through and see how manufacturers really stepped up during COVID. A car manufacturer was producing ventilators,
Right.
and they pivoted. So it was heartening to see the ingenuity of short-term disaster response, and that I would purely call it a purpose-driven change, in short terms. So what this means is, while you can have facilities, plants, networks, infrastructure built in a way that helps you remain agile, remain flexible, and really make changes on the plant floor, but you have to invest in people. That's your strongest asset, that your people capability is not just technically sound, but managerial leadership and and a purpose-driven workforce that is chasing not just daily production output at quality and lowest cost, but looking at how do we work together to solve problems, and are we enjoying that? Because otherwise, manufacturing can get pretty routine. You're stamping out everyday parts and all. So it this is slightly offbeat. Like, I can build modular systems, I can standardize. Yes, you can, but if you do not have a workforce, a leadership team, a management structure that is purpose driven, uh, you can face a lot of challenges in maintaining your operations viability.
I love your emphasis on people and workforce, be it leadership, be it frontline workers, uh, while being a technology leader in manufacturing. So that's really really fresh and really interesting to hear. Uh, Prasad, on that, I follow you on LinkedIn, and a lot of the content, or you go to these conferences, and you're driving a lot of discussions around how AI can applies into manufacturing and supply chain. And one of the, you were at this recent conference with the world number one leader in, GPUs and AI, and a software leader as well. And you were sitting at this, leading a session with them. And one question that I was thinking about was, what are the most significant challenges that companies are facing when scaling AI across these core manufacturing and supply chain functions?
Yeah, this is something that is top of mind for everybody. Um, so I think you need to step back a little when you say why we can't scale. See, what has happened over a number of years is people have implemented MES, adopted various homegrown versions, implemented COTS packages as a primary means of bridging the gap between your PLC SCADA systems and HMI to the ERP layer and planning layer, basically. So, but there is data everywhere within the organization, within the plant floor. You have quality management. They are offline. There is paper even today. Many organizations are still looking for, hey, how do I implement MES? And so you get taken aback by that sometimes that while the world is moving so fast forward, the core digital systems within the manufacturing environment are still not done. There is so much gap in that. Uh, Consumer, take any industry sector, there is still a lot of work to be done at digital core. So, and then if you kind of extrapolate it, that what will create impact for me within the plant network? As a plant manager or as a COO, I'm looking at impact that will be across the board. I'm not one plant doing one POC is does not create
Yeah.
a huge impact on the organization. So why did I share that? Because this is one of the fear factor that prevents people from embarking on AI mission. To
Yeah.
say that, oh, my data infrastructure is bad, my digital core is not done, um, what should I do first, etc., etc. Um, and then they get into this fear psychosis of should I embark on it? What will happen? But that's one reason, basically. The digital core is not ready. All jokes apart, I think you need a strong digital core if you want to really leverage AI. And
100%.
without that, you cannot. So you need to. If you don't have that basic foundations, there is something that you should urgently be doing it.
Yeah.
The second thing is organizational mindset to say, even if I haven't built the um, the Power BI dashboards or simple monitoring systems or alerting based on in first use cases of industrial IoT, or I can still leapfrog it. And simple examples are, see, the way you can build models is models improve over a period of time. That's the fundamental thing about AI. So you don't need to stop. You can get started, it'll improve. And you should not be taking this as a transactional system that, well, I have implemented it, the transaction should go perfectly. Of course, that's the requirement for a transactional system. But for AI, you look for improved performance, and that's what needs to happen. The final thing I would say is the leadership commitment is very important to this entire journey on scaling. Of course, you need to be very pragmatic as a leader on I want to focus on where the value is. I want to select the right use cases. I'm not doing technology for technology's sake, or this is not an experiment. Uh, so leadership commitment really helps in those aspects of scaling.
That makes sense. Prasad, kind of continuing on that, how can you already touched upon this to a fair extent, but still want to double click. How can these organizations ensure that their AI and more broadly digital transformation initiatives are aligned with that long-term business value and not just short-term automation.
Yeah, I think as I was mentioning, the important thing is to really sit back first and look at where where is my business heading and where do I want to be? And in terms of my cost, my productivity, my people engagement, and what do I need to solve for? So if you are a global organization with multiple plants across the world, and you are looking at creating a scale program and scaled impact, you have to look at what do I need to solve for first, and where will the highest impact be. Um, Everybody believes in it that you should go for some low-hanging fruits to create excitement and purpose within the organization. But I am a believer of yes, but low-hanging fruits are good, they are required, but it should be part of a roadmap
Yeah.
of something bigger. Otherwise, these achieving some smaller proof of concepts, let's say you're looking at a planning system, you bring in some agents to do some workflow automation. It can give you a temporary high, but then is it part of your something bigger that you want to achieve and a bigger goal? Then you can build a scale. So the reason I brought out that was you need to build the foundation layers. Digital core is important. Then you need to select the use cases that you can scale with greatest value. So that's one mistake that many organizations commit to. It's an excited flurry of multiple POCs instead of a purpose-driven, a roadmap-based, very structured way of building it out. Then, of course, you need to uh, commit resources to that and make sure that this is part and parcel of your business. You cannot just think of this as something as an additional. You need to, business leaders, plant managers, CEOs, head of product development, all of them need to embrace it. That this is our way forward. This is how my business process is going to run. That's what is going to create a difference in scaling these programs.
That makes sense. Prasad, in what ways is so we've had uh, maybe you can call it AI or you correct me. Over the last decade or so, a lot of systems have been deployed around traditional analytics, right? Analytical system. You can see great looking dashboards. In what ways are you seeing, let's call it causal AI, changing the way in which industrial decision making is approached? Has anything changed compared to those analytics dashboards in the latest revolution that has happened over the last couple of years?
So I think many organizations have tried to leapfrog from creating dashboards to straight away using generative AI
Yeah.
and adopt uh, generative AI in some of the use cases. Um, to me, causal models are and causal AI is one of the critical foundations that you need to build in. Because that is really where, when we talk about mimicking the human brain and achieving cognitive intelligence within the AI systems in manufacturing or other subjects, what will make a difference is uh, to to start thinking of non-intuitive decisions that are like made from gut feel. What do I mean by that? So you are looking at a production system, you are trying to optimize, let's say, a total landed cost of a component or a part that is coming up. And usually the model is you are optimizing for lead time, you are optimizing for the cost and the inventory that you have to keep, etc. That's the usual intuitive decision making around that, and you model around that. But imagine a scenario where you're looking at, okay, what does it mean to my operations in the plant? to source a part from a longer lead time? Will my operations cost get impacted? Will my quality suffer? Or what happens to energy consumption by using this source versus that source? These are very counterintuitive models, but something that you can enable it through a very, as I call it, like you can bring a semantic layer, you can build knowledge graphs on top of that, which enables causal models to be built. So you can then look at the power. Your decisions that you made based on certain criteria will completely look different if you are expanding that. That's the power. In terms of its progression, I I see that while generative AI is making a huge difference in the way the querying of the data, the processing of the data, the agents that are getting adopted now, I see still a lot of scope for causal models. I don't think we have done enough in manufacturing world to start to look at causal models. Another example is so we are always looking at warranty costs and recalls in multiple product categories. Take from food to cars. Every day you read, oh, so many
Yeah.
parts have been recalled,
Recall
so many
events.
cars
Yeah.
yeah, you see that all the time. So the key challenge then is, okay, why is the recall happening? At what stage are we failing in? Now, this is you can do a Webull analysis on and just get to some answers. But when you peel the onion, the root cause may be lying at us at tier 4 of a supplied part.
Mm.
Uh, has several examples. So when the window winding switch burning failure happened on Toyota, the fault lied at the resin supplier due to a mix, and that was a tier 4 who's supplying the resins to the switch maker, to who's supplying and doing the assembly, and then coming into the cars. Now, this is very difficult to model because at what level you will model in your as an OEM, this is where the power of the causal models and agentic frameworks can come in play. But also depends on how are you looking at data? What's your data infrastructure? What is your overall API structure that you've created in your analytics framework, if you may, or AI framework nowadays? So those are, it's very powerful. We haven't done enough. There is a lot of scope today.
That makes sense. This is fantastic. Great answer. Incredibly helpful. Incredibly insightful. I believe that our audience is going to love this.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Factory Forward. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to follow us on Spotify to stay updated with future episodes and share it with your network to keep the conversation going. Join us on social media using #FactoryForward and let us know your thoughts. We appreciate you being part of a community that's always striving to improve, innovate, and move forward. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and embracing new ideas. See you in the next episode of Factory Forward.